Hi, Jia-Bin.
Hey, hey, Devi.
How are you?
Hey, good, good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, this is fun. I'm really looking forward to other people's discussions.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a list of questions.
Okay,
And yeah, some of them might be light, so they might not take a lot of thought. Some of them might need a little more thought, in which case feel free to pause and think about it if you like. You don't have to feel pressure to sort of rush or give shorter answers. If we don't get through all of them, we can always just skip them. So I'll make sure we end on time. But in general, if you
great.
can sort of lean on the side of being open, transparent to the extent that you're comfortable being, I think that will be good.
Awesome, awesome. So it's kind of like, okay. So it's like an interview, and I hope I'm not pressed by
Yeah, no,
some tough questions.
I don't think, and I should say that if you want to skip a question, we can do that as well. There shouldn't be too many of those, but if you feel like
Okay,
you don't have anything to add there, it's completely fine to skip.
okay, yeah, sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
So if I want to dodge a question, that is fine.
yeah, absolutely.
Like presidential debates, town hall meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so my first question is, what were you doing just before this call?
So I took my wife and I took our kids, Oliver and Oscar, to for a walk in the neighborhood. That's typically what we were doing, either playing in the backyard, like playing bubbles. They love bubble guns and they like this kind of pool noodles.
Huh.
Like yeah, so we just usually in the morning we just take time off and then play outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds nice. What is your daily routine like?
daily routine. So uh, like since March, this things are a little bit different. So since March, what I'm doing typically in the morning, I probably couldn't do anything because I so need to take the kids to like for a walk and kind of make sure that I keep them busy. And then so that's in the morning, and then after lunch, put them to bed. So to them to nap. That's probably around 12:30, and then I come down and here, and then start to have meetings. And probably from 1 to probably 4 or 5. That's kind of my work hours, and then need to go up and then bring them outside again if the weather is nice. Yeah, and then sometimes at around 6 or 7, it's their kind of their TV time. They were allowed, if they clean up things, they are allowed to watch Atanas. So it's a cartoon.
Hmm,
It's a fun cartoon.
hmm,
They can watch TV for probably an
hmm,
hour, and then I'll bring them to the bed around probably 8, 9. Then they will put them. We'll put them in to bed at 9,
hmm.
and then usually around 9:30 or to 10, that's starting my free time again. So I'll try to make up the some of the work that I didn't do.
Yeah.
So I was think that so that's kind of the daily routine
Hmm,
since March.
hmm.
Yeah. So right now both of them are not in daycare. So yeah. So we have to keep them busy.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense, makes sense. What is the favorite part of your day usually?
I think in the morning, like basically in the morning, because basically if the weather is nice, we just will walk through the neighborhood. So there's some nice trail in the neighborhood, and we'll just like walk through, have a like morning walk and see different things. And not right now, this year is fun because that every household um, will have this Halloween
Hmm.
decoration. So you'll see spiders, you'll see spooky skeletons. So and they are so excited about this. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Like I
Yeah,
just come back from this morning walk.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what is the least favorite part of your day?
least favorite part of the day. Okay, that's interesting. So um, probably kind of feel a bit pressured when I because kind of usually only have 1 to around 4 to 3 hours of work time during the day, and that's kind of more free of distractions. And usually that filled with kind of meetings with students and collaborations. Um, Sometimes I feel that I wasn't be able to do stuff. For example, I haven't been able to have time to really work on, say, for example, writing a grant. That I wasn't able to do that because the time is very limited. So essentially, right now, if you count the working hour, it's basically like I heard a lot of discussion about like how many work hour people have, and I was a bit embarrassed. And I like they are talking about 80 hours, and I was like, okay, right now I probably have like 15 hours to 20 hours a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Um, but so that's kind of then I'll feel anxious, like, oh, I need to get this done. I really want to say apply or really want to prepare the lecture. So that kind of I think uh, if you want to come up with an answer for a specific time, I always said that probably 4 to 5, where I have to go to look after the kids, but at the same time, I haven't finished the things I need to do.
Yeah.
So I feel anxious.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm already grateful for you taking the time, but given this description, I'm especially grateful for you taking the time to do this. So thanks for doing that.
No problem.
Yeah. What chore, like a day-to-day chore, like dishes or laundry or anything like that, like what chore do you dislike the most and why?
Dislike the most. Mm, I don't have. I don't think I dislike any of them. So yeah, so there are some responsibility I will do. For example, cleaning the like cleaning the table after the dinner or lunch. I I kind of clean the house using vacuum to clean the house. Let's see, dislike. Yeah, so and then I also need to take oh, okay, I know that. So like after lunch, after laundry, and usually we, because kind of we are kind of a bit busy, so usually the after lunch, after we dry the clothes, then typically they will sit in the lounge in the
In the
dryer for
dryer. Yeah.
so that's something that, because it takes time to kind of fold all the clothes back to in
Mhm.
place,
Yeah.
that takes time. So that's something probably I dislike the most. Typically right now I'm a bit in a bit mess because I just keep it in the dryer, and then when I need the clothes I just go to the dryer
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
disorganized.
Yeah. No. Do you struggle with procrastination?
Yeah, certainly. I Yeah, so it's kind of, it's almost every papers that I ever written typically is kind of um but probably are written in probably in a few days before the deadline, or sometimes it's like right at the deadline, and that's kind of stressful sometimes. Um but usually when before that, when I have actually have time, then I can do this better. But since the pandemic, so it's started to more and more procrastinated. And sometimes I would just, for example, there may be some great opportunity. Sometimes I may just kind of, okay, let me just drop this so that I doesn't feel too pressured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, certainly I procrastinate a lot. Um, One way I use to mitigate that effects is to procrastinate but do something useful as well. For
Hmm.
example, just spend more time with the kids, or do other stuff when I do procrastinating.
Yeah. Some of that also sounds like it might just be prioritization, right? Deciding what you want to spend time on versus not, which is a good thing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you struggle with time management?
Yeah, that's one. Yes, certainly. I think so. You know that you have this calendar note, not to do list. I found it very helpful, but I have really hard time to implement that. For example, because there are many interruption that would have like usually unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I may have a kind of an afternoon that where I clear all meetings, no meetings. I want to do something, but for example, it could be like the kids don't want to go to nap, then suddenly the whole thing is ruined.
Yeah.
You couldn't really get anything done. So you have to kind of push back, replan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so kind of time management certainly is kind of, it's very hard for me. I think it happens for all the people with young kids at home. So yeah, but I'm still learning that. I try to cut down more unnecessary tasks. For example, right now I I'll have to turn down for example, the NSF review panels. I have to turn down, kind of keep the only the essential task, like for example, not grow the group, but focus on more on existing students.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of try to cut this additional opportunities.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you set an alarm in the morning?
Our kids are the alarm. So they will wake us up, see that they want to eat or something.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so like so on Tuesday and Thursday I'll teach a course at 8 a.m. So it's
Hmm.
very early morning.
Wow. Yeah.
So for that I will I'll set an alarm.
Hmm. Yeah.
But the rest of the Monday, Wednesday, Friday I don't set an alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were to ask your friends what is Jia-Bin like, what do you think they might say? What might be 3 adjectives they might use?
Okay, I think it might be funny. Be one of them. Other objective. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd be curious to hear what, like the people who
Yeah.
spend time
Mhm.
with you more. Um,
Yeah, I guess funny, and then one thing, maybe a bit more talkative, in the sense that I think kind of like to. Sometimes I may be too talkative in terms of like a bit annoying. So yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, I think that's something I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think this is accurate, or is anything exaggerated? Is anything missing?
Yeah, I think it's very accurate. I don't think there's any discrepancy between how I act versus who I am. So I feel comfortable.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Are you happy with the number of close friends you have?
Yes, I think there are a number of close friends. Like maybe it's not in the vicinity, but I do have like close friend with we even have in contact. Even for example, after they are separate around the world.
Mm.
Some of them are high school like classmates, and some of them are like universities. Some of them are from Illinois. So we still have this chat group that's very active. Yeah, so we'll share deals and share a number of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice. What is something you're worse at than people around you?
Worse at
Mm,
probably meeting new people.
mm,
Yeah. So sometimes, fix my, in the conference setting, so you have to kind of interact with people, and sometimes um, I will be probably to be the one who is more on the quiet side
mm,
um, of this discussion, especially for the virtual conference. So I remember that I kind of attend this ICRR, the conference, which is virtual this
mm,
year, and there are several this kind of virtual events. There's virtual room, and you can just join, um, and you can. So basically, I found that a lot of people can talk. It's very talkative, like those especially for native speaker, they can be talkative, and they talk about a lot of different things, especially in the culture. Um, um, and I found that I'm not good at that. So I tend to, especially for kind of the Zoom, they have probably 10 people in the room. I will be less talkative in that setting. So, but
yeah.
I found that some people are very good at this.
Mm,
That is kind of yeah, that's their advantage. I think that's something we kind of. I can be good. I think that's still a good thing because that expand your social circle. Can yeah, but think it's. I think that's something I should learn in the future to be more social or more be able to connect with new people to the new backgrounds better
mm.
and faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what is your single biggest strength?
Single biggest strengths. Let me think about this. Uh, I think uh, think single biggest strengths. I think I still have many imaginations. For example, when I like play with the kids, I can be more into that. I love it when they kind of take their fire engine or something like that, pretend that's kind of crazy. And I feel that I still have. Uh, I mean, I know that I was like that as kids, like just playing around stuff and then just imagine the entire world.
Mm,
And I found that I I can still do that. So
yeah.
which is good to connect with kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, in some way, this also help research as well. Like
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. Yeah.
being able to associate new things.
Yeah. And with the creativity aspect of it. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Um, what is a recurring moral conflict that you struggle with?
Conflict. I guess it's a time management. So, and sometimes it's probably envy other people too much. Other people, like for example, you see that this people has X papers on Y conference, but kind of it's a trade-off, right? So now with family, especially with young kids, kind of it keep having this conflict of I want to get things done, and then when I get something done, I want to get more things done. So, but you only have this much time. You really have to prioritize in terms of the things. For example, it's very constrained, and the conflict comes from, say, for example, if I want to say have meetings up to 5, up to 6, then my wife would have to give up her free time to look after the kids, and that is kind of create a conflicts, right? So the more I work, the more I work, the more she will need to work, and it's not easy to look after two kids because they are at the age where they will just kind of, if you don't look after them constantly, they will just fight and then they will cry and there are a lot of dramas going on. So it really is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the one of the recurring conflicts that in my life. And then I think this happens to probably everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Is there a specific instance where you distinctly recall feeling privileged?
Privilege. Let me see. I'm not sure. As an Asian, I don't feel any like specific privilege. In probably okay, maybe something like this, like compared to other like non compared to other non-blind non-white race. So I think Asian is kind of is considered as a safe. Basically, they don't do much harm, and they kind of. So when I was, for example, when I was maybe kind of being stopped by police, I won't feel that kind of my life will be threatened. But this is not the experience from other people, like people of color, because I'm Asian. So Asian usually, I mean, they probably won't feel that you are a threatened people.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's probably one kind of privilege I can think of.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Um, what are you insecure about?
Insecure about. Let's think. Oh, so I do feel that kind of in US, when in the US, I think when I look at the news about the gun violence and the nation getting more and more divided, I'm a bit insecure about the kids' future, and also the related to climate change. So basically, I'm a bit insecure about the kids' future and the safety in the next generation. How my kids will be in.
Hmm.
Um, right. So specifically on gun violence, it's kind of when I look at the news like that, as I sometimes I really have this impulse to see, okay, should I move back to Taiwan or move to any other places where there's no such things. Yeah, so that's kind of something that I'm most insecure about, because kind of I couldn't imagine how devastating that would be, to have these kind of things happen to so many different families already.
Yeah. 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 Do you feel like an imposter?
Oh, what's that?
Do you feel like an imposter, like you don't belong in the position that you have, or anything like
Um,
that?
Originally, a little bit when I was a graduate student. I kind of in the first few years I was a bit struggling. Um, um, so things get slightly better later on. So I was never imagined that I would end up in the academia, even though really like this flexibility and the freedom. But I think more and more when I start to do something that I'm really passionate about and I want to show people, I start to feel more and more like less and less think that okay, maybe I belong here.
Yeah. 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 What is something you're trying out these days, and how is that going?
Trying out these days. Is it academically or anything?
Anything. It could be in your work or just in your day-to-day life, or something big, something small, anything.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be more I'm trying to be more hands-on in terms of the uh, like implementation and try. Probably in the first 3 years in my like kind of assistant faculty position, I was a bit more kind of because the time management issues. So I was a bit more like detached to the actual stuff that students do. And now, so I spent like 2 summers at Facebook. So I start to really kind of lead the project and write code and being involved in code reviews. Start to kind of also kind of that's also one of the engineering life of the aspects of the of the my profession. So I start to kind of be more and more hands-on. So I try to be more specific in terms of the implementation, so that also helps students as well. Yeah, so that's something that I'm currently trying to improve.
Yeah.
Not just someone who just spell out high level things and just make it happen, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to improve that.
That's great. Is there like a favorite tool or a trick or a hack that you use in your life that makes it more efficient or more fun or more convenient that you think might be good to share?
Tricks of let's see. I think the idea of converting to-do list to calendar is really good one. So sometimes I will use something even for something trivial, I will still add that to the calendar.
Yeah.
And that calendar helped me to kind of understand the capacity of my work, so that I can still get things done. And it's also fun to kind of give basically myself some reward about like, oh, you get these things done. Like, even though it's just put it there and click it off. Something that kind of give yourself a positive feedback.
Yeah. Like a
That's something
dopamine hit.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was saying that it's something I think it's very interesting concept, and then kind of works well in practice. But of course, it's sometimes you still have to be more flexible in terms of the times, because for example, there may be many different interruption that, so we need to shuffle these things around. But yeah.
Makes sense. What is something surprising about you? Something that the rest of us might not guess?
Rest of us might not get. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, I was good at sports earlier. I ran 3 marathon when I
Oh,
was
wow.
when I was a PhD student at Illinois. And yeah. So I was trying to like, because I like the like, the UIC has this marathon every April. So I was trying to like fly to UIC and attend that marathon again, and while like visiting UIC to give a talk or something like that. But that was canceled because the COVID. But so
I
that's
see.
too bad. Yeah, but nowadays that's kind of my good old days. But nowadays I'm kind of have this, because of COVID, I also gained a lot of weight, a lot of pounds, and now it's really bad. So I hope to. And I heard that the vaccine doesn't work well for kind of people with obesity. So I really need to like cut down my weights in the following months.
Yeah. Yeah. What is something about the world that surprises you?
What was that a word?
About the world, just world or
Uh,
life or yeah.
yeah. So I don't really get the society of United States, in a sense that kind of like why people don't like, for example, believe this climate change, or the in this, for example, in this specific example, why people don't wear masks, why the people think that it's violation of their rights, because I mean in Taiwan it's normal, it's kind of the cultural norm is very simple, that kind of if you, and then the public official tells you that if you wear a mask, everyone will be safe, and if you go to Taiwan, even now there's no case, zero case, for like 100 days already. You still, if you go out and people, when people gather, still wear mask, everyone. um, I feel that the concept, I don't know, maybe in the Western society, they they have more concept about their self, but they don't have like we as a society to do the right things. So that's something that I'm a bit puzzled. I think I understand that, for example, for some politician, like the president, he wants to do this. He wants to promote this kind of more dangerous actions. That I think it's fine, but that's his personal things. But what I'm surprised that is the population that endorse that message. That's something that's still puzzling. Like, what is so difficult to put on your mask? It's just a little bit inconvenient, but it saved other people's lives. Yeah, so that's one of the surprise things for me, that I couldn't really understand why people think that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is something probably due to the maybe long tradition of this, is like maybe has history of that, similar to gun. I mean, you want to drive, you need to take a test, you need to have this, make sure that you can drive well, you can have this thing. But for guns, why don't have any check and balance? You don't have to check. And why in the society we need AR-15? So it's so divided. I think that those something that this are the things that I couldn't really understand about the especially US.
Yeah. Yeah. um, what do you tend to think about most when you're not intentionally trying to think about something?
Think about it. I usually would I don't know, like creating toys.
Hmm.
Like yeah. So my wife and I will make some toys for the kids. Sometimes I will look for ideas to, for example, yeah, I can show you example like we made this. So by the way, my
Oh,
room is
wow.
already a playground now. So they were
Wow. That is quite extensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can see that there's a dinosaur that we made from a
Oh, yeah.
Target box.
Yeah.
We have made this dice, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought
that's
when you
something that
said, yeah, when you were saying toys, I thought they would be like small things or something, but this is quite big and yeah. Wow.
yeah, but it's fun to make them, and I love it when they like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. What is something unexpected that happened recently, like in the last couple of weeks or so?
Oh, I don't think of anything unexpectedly. For the things March, we have been in shelter in place mode
Yeah.
for this many months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every day looks the same. Oh, okay, I could say something. I'm really surprised that uh, a kid can stay healthy without catching a cold for such a long time. So, earlier is like when Oliver was in the daycare, that every 1 month, 2 months, there will be you'll catch a cold and then coughing, and sometimes it's more serious. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why we didn't put him back to the daycare.
Mm.
We know that if there's some potential outbreak, they will be serious. It's very easy to kind of transmit this virus. Yeah, so that's something I'm pleasantly surprised that I didn't know that a kid can stay healthy for such a long time. That's probably a positive side about this.
Yeah, 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 yeah. What is one way in which you wish your life was different?
Probably not. I think in which the life was different. I'm pretty happy with the current current lifestyle, and yeah, I don't think I wish for any other types of lives. I feel that kind of being in this particular field, that's a good decision for me. And the specific profession, like for example in academia, is I really enjoy the freedom and kind of working with students. These aspects I really enjoy that. Yeah, I probably wouldn't think others. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you looking forward to in the near term, like in the next few days or next week or so?
Oh, so I think this weekend we will go to see. We probably have a like short hike to see the leaves. You
Hmm.
know, the leaves are changing colors.
Mhm.
So this time of year is very beautiful.
Yeah,
So we'll probably to do like this weekend we'll probably go for a hike,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
will I very look forward to it.
yeah, yeah. That sounds nice. Do you think you're average, above average, or below average happy relative to people around you?
I think probably about average. I think it's yeah. In terms of anxiety, probably below average, but in terms of happiness, I think it's good. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. When was the last time you danced?
oh, dance.
Yeah.
Uh, dance probably yesterday with dancing with the kids.
The kids. Yeah.
You know, we go to this like bear, berry picking trip. So there's like a place where you can pick your berries, and there's some like you know that like tube guy. There's a tube guy where they have air, then they would this guy's kind of moving it
Oh,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
They
yeah,
try to get away with the try to scare the birds away for the berry,
yeah. Hmm.
and the kids like it. So I bought a small one where you can just bring them together, and they would just dance together with that tube guy. Uh, yeah, that was yesterday.
Oh, oh, yeah. What is your most recent dream that you remember?
Most recent dream. Um, I let me see. Probably a week ago, I dreamed of something like a falling. In a dream, I fall down. Kind of falling something.
Mm,
Um, I feel that that's probably because of the anxiety that maybe I don't know, CVPR deadline is coming.
yeah.
Afraid that couldn't catch the deadline, something like that, probably.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't remember the specific details.
Yeah. 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 Are you more optimistic or more pessimistic than people around you?
Um, Probably a bit more pessimistic.
Hmm.
I think usually, yeah, I probably in the more pessimistic side.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think there is a point to life, to our existence?
Yeah, that's a serious question. Certainly, I kind of since kids, I really like the idea of trying to make a world a better place. Um, so um, I'm fortunate to be like a work when I work, I actually can define the trajectory I want to work on and be able to make people's life better.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I think that's the point of life, and then being able to basically have kind of grow up with the kids to being accompanying them for a journey, and then they can go on their own. I feel that that's kind of the yeah. So the process is really the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you struggle with in life?
Struggle with in life, probably something like the balance between the ambitious I have, like really want to do something. I wouldn't want to do more ambitious projects. I want to do more work um, because these are the work I like, so I don't feel tired. But at the same time, there's a balance between the work and the flexible families, um, kind of their well-beings. So there's kind of there's something that probably I struggle the most um, to sometimes you feel that okay, imagine a scenario where I don't have family and kind of I can just work, and maybe that would kind of you would be able to do some more things, you get more fan, more citations, or uh, but you have definitely need to be a happy person first, right? So um, I think that that's a kind of striking a balance. It's not easy. I'm still learning that. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. How do you decide what to work on?
How do you decide what to work on? Um, that's interesting. So typically, I don't have a clear answer for that. Basically, I want to work on something that I like to work on something that has kind of. I usually think about like when students come to me and say they want to work on that some X. Uh, I usually was think about okay, suppose you do everything right. What will you be proud of that? Be kind of passionate about what you're going to show. Yeah, so I think kind of I like to think backward in terms of okay, suppose you do everything right, these techniques, XYZ techniques, you solve everything. Will that be good for you? And if not, then just drop it. If yes, then let's go for it. So I like to think in terms of the end product, right? So, and I want to be trying. Typically, I try to work on something that kind of can reveal something that we couldn't see in the original images or videos to yeah, so something that can surprise us.
Yeah. Yeah. What are a couple of common traits that you found amongst your best colleagues, best collaborators, best students that you worked with?
Common tricks.
Common,
Let's
common,
see.
common traits, like common characteristics in these
Oh,
people.
character. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think one of them is that I think one of them is that being organized in the sense that they will make notes. They make notes in themselves in the meetings, and they will summarize the meeting, even though they're not in, maybe they're senior enough, but they don't really need to do that. Like, yeah, this is one of the I think the kind of the smartest people I work with. They all have this kind of the characteristics that they can stay organized and think about in terms of priorities, and yeah, to get things done. So they are very efficient, and uh, instead of doing all the stuff, they kind of be able to prioritize things, and tackle the most important problems. That's one of them. The other one I think is that they stay very curious, and still learning. That's that's surprising for me, because I thought that senior people are just uh, uh, they basically just throw out high level ideas, but without actually thinking about how you actually do that. But after but kind of with interaction with several more senior people, I found that it's not the case. They still are very sharp, and they still are very hands-on and learn a lot of new things in the field. So that's something that I really kind of aspire to, like to not to detach with the with not because because you're getting more and more seniors, and be still try to stay curious, stay positive, stay yeah, learn new things.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
And so for example, when you said that students, for instance, that if they're organized and they know how to prioritize things and so on, have you found good ways of being able to spot these characteristics early on?
Yeah. So so what I will do is that I'll try to no matter what, I will still ask them to come up with a list, come up with the priority themselves, and then I will sit with them to go over the list to see maybe if you swap this order, you can get something insightful, or maybe there's some other task that you must do that's required, but maybe it's kind of separate track, so it's a one-shot effort, maybe kind of constructing the baseline to get some other people's results, something like that. So you can maybe it's higher priority. So yeah, but I will still ask students to basically come up with their own list,
Mm.
even though I know what could be the more efficient ways, but I guess that's one of my kind of tricks that I always ask students to do this themselves, and then try to revise them.
Mhm.
When you work with them like this, I found that they can learn this. Next time that they do, they understand that okay, from X to Y. So basically, you provide this training data for them, and next time they can do they train their neural network, and then they can do this similar things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Oceans or hills? Which one do you prefer when you go on like
Uh,
vacation? Oceans or hills when you go on
Hill.
vacations or things like that?
Probably oceans. The uh, because the hills that like there might be bugs, so so ocean probably nicer.
Yeah, yeah. Um, what is something you love doing that you're terrible at?
Love doing but terrible at.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, Maybe playing guitar. I'm not very good at that, but I enjoy that. Um, I learned guitar for when I was very young, but I didn't really. kind of put into a lot of effort to master that.
Hmm.
So the level of my guitar is still stay the same, so it's not very good, but still it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. When was the last time you felt like a kid in a candy store?
Kid in a candy store. Ah, that's interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I don't recall a time where is that referring to something like you're become very excited
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something like when I kind of take so we have a lot of like membership about this children museum in all this in all these areas.
Mm.
So I sometimes I kind of would bring the when before COVID, like bring the kids to the children museum where kind of everything's new, and then sometimes I also feel excited about that. It's because kind of they are excited, so I get to very excited as well.
Yeah. 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 What is something that you did not like at the time, but you're glad now that it happened?
Let's see. Didn't like at that time, but glad it happened. I couldn't think of any. Hmm. Sorry, I don't recall any particular instance
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah. That's fine. What do you easily get nostalgic about?
nostalgic about. Uh, let's see. Probably my family, kind of in Taiwan, and yeah, so yeah, so probably cover kind of probably and like be able to uh like because like in Taiwan, life in Taiwan is very convenient, and sometimes it's here, especially for this COVID things. Like it's really uh kind of get stuck at here, but you see the all the life is still going on in Taiwan. It's uh, still very convenient. Everything goes on.
Hmm.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
you hear about good news about that. Kind of you sometimes you miss the life there.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Um, what is something that made you smile today?
Uh, means what?
Made you smile today?
Smile.
Yeah.
Ah, probably watch the kind of kids photos when I, for example, open Facebook or Google Photos. They would remind you what's the uh, um, what's on this day, maybe 2-3 years ago, and then see how kind of how cute they were, how not annoying they were those days. Uh, yeah. So that's yeah. I think that's a good feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is some of the best advice you've either gotten or given?
The best advice. Um, I don't recall where that got this advice from, but I think um, I think one of the advice is that just prioritize things so that you only kind of in you're not defined. I mean, you're not defined by how many papers you publish, but on the work that the best of your work. So that probably help me to prioritize things, so to kind of not grow too large, but be able to focus on things that kind of improve the quality more. So quality versus quantity.
Hmm.
still it's a bit tempting because you see like because there's so many papers these days, so a lot of people have many papers, still feel a bit okay, I'm not publishing this much. Yeah, sometimes it'll be a struggle, but you have to remind yourself that keep reminding yourself that you want to do good work versus many work.
Yeah, makes sense. Why did you decide to do this interview with me?
I think it's fun, and then you get to catch up with you, and then I think it's nice to have. I think this is a very good initiative to kind of open kind of see these people as a person instead of the name on the paper.
Mhm.
I actually have this type of kind of the kind of this feeling as well. When I first attend a conference, I was really kind of impressed that, oh wow, this is that paper, and that is this kind of see an actual person. that was really kind of, oh, this guy is the one who has this algorithm. So I feel that this series will bring us more about that, but
Mhm.
in a kind of more reach out to more people. So I
Yeah,
think that's great.
yeah, makes sense. So those are all the questions I had. Is there
Ah,
anything else
okay, I
about you, your
survived.
life? Yeah. Is there anything else about you or your life that you think we should have talked about that we didn't get to?
Let's see. I don't think there's other things. So right now it's a bit kind of regular. So I think like all the people who are kind of being locked down in this space, I think mental health is probably one important things, because kind of I don't know how, because we're in a tunnel, but we haven't seen the light yet, right? So we don't know how long this will be. So being able to kind of maintain a good mental health is also important.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So and I try to manage that by kind of remove most of the task in the morning, so that I can be less excitable and like anxious.
Mhm.
Um, right. So, but I'm still learning that how to best manage the time, and best manage the expectation in a way. Um, yeah, but I'm sure that all probably kind of most of the people are who are in this case in this situation are in experiencing our hardship. So I guess there's not much we can do in terms of the I guess this kind of we have to be more tolerable with others when they don't respond, they are not responsive, or they are not that reaching the expectation. Like
Mhm.
remember that they may be experiencing similar hardship.
Yeah,
So
makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, thank you for that reminder.
yeah.
Um, yeah, thanks a lot, Jia-Bin, for taking the time to do this and for sharing this much.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. I think I really enjoy this, and I really look forward to see other people's experience.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, I'm sure that I will learn a lot from their experience as well.
yeah,
So these will be in release in soon, right? So
yeah. I'll start releasing them early next week, and I'm
awesome,
thinking of putting out two of these every week for several weeks after that.
nice,
So,
I see,
yeah,
awesome, awesome. That's a really good idea. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
nice.
All right. Thank you,
All
Jia-Bin.
right,
It was good
thank
seeing you.
you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Bye.